Welcome to installation guide number 4, how to use LUTs. Okay, so here we have some log footage. It may be a little bit of foundational knowledge to know that log footage is recorded in a certain color space or a certain color profile based on the camera that you have. So I think this is S-log footage, the Sony camera, got an S-log. And why would we do this? Why would we make our footage look so bland and flat and gray? Well, shooting in log gives us more flexibility. It basically gives us more information to then go and color correct and color grade when we are in post-production. What's the difference between color correction and color grading? Well, color correction is taking something from log and returning it to a standard color space. So like, let's say Rec 709. Okay, what is Rec 709? I'm sure you can learn a lot more about this in another tutorial, but basically that is a standard color space that most monitors are able to use. Okay, so that's color correction. We're just bringing it back to how did it look when we were looking at this as we were shooting it, okay? So what did it look like to see this cute little guy riding in his stroller? Okay, his blue was probably a little bit more blue. His skin probably wasn't so flat. And come over to this next one. The sky was a little bit brighter, probably. So that's what color correction is. We're just bringing it back to like a baseline. From there, we have color grading. And color grading is more of the emotional / creative decisions that you can make the audience feel a certain way. So let's say we wanted to make all of our colors look very blue because it's kind of a sad, emotive scene. Okay, that would be color grading. And that's the difference between the creative and technical folders that you see here inside of these Premiere Pro program files inside of LUTs, the creative and technical. Technical refers to color correction LUTs, and creative refers to color grading LUTs. All of the cubes or all of the LUTs that you downloaded from the 4 editors, these are all creative. Okay, you may need to find the technical LUT that corresponds to the log profile that you shot with on your camera. And you can usually find those online. You might want to check out Ground Control. They have some free technical LUTs there. But what we're working with today is it's all creative stuff. And let me show you how to use these. I'm going to go over to the color workspace. Okay, and inside the color workspace, I have this new panel here, Lumetri Color. And I have what's called the input LUT. Okay, there's a lot of different words for the same thing. Input LUT is basically our technical LUT. That's part of correction. And because this is log, I do need a technical LUT here. I need an input LUT. So I'm going to come down here, and I believe that this footage is S-log3. This is one of the ones I downloaded from Ground Control. And okay, great. That looks a lot more lifelike. That looks a little bit more like what it probably felt like to be out shooting that day when looking at this little guy riding a stroller. Okay, so that's all I need to do. That's all I need to do for color correction or basic correction. Now let's say I wanted to make this look sad for some strange reason. I wanted to make this happy guy look sad. So I'm going to come to the Creative tab, and underneath Look, these are all the LUTs that we just installed. So if you click on this, I'm going to look down here and be like, wait, where the heck are all of those LUTs I just installed? Look, they had like all around next to them. These are just the default LUTs that are always in Premiere. Well, what you need to do is close Premiere and open it back up again. Classic troubleshooting. If it doesn't work, just restart. Okay, so I'm going to hit save on this project. I'll close Premiere. And then I will open it back up again. Okay, cool. So I am back in Premiere. And if I click here underneath Looks, there they are. There are all of my new LUTs. So I'm just going to go with all around 82. Okay, cool. Gives it kind of like that teal orange look that they're always talking about. There are a lot of these in here. So all around 99, that's a very warm look. But you see that you really want to make sure you add your basic correction, your technical LUT first. Because if we look here, this is what it would look like without that technical LUT. Okay, this is what it would look like. It still is like extremely flat. So you don't just want to add just a creative look. You want to bring it up to its baseline and then add the creative LUT. So if you want to get a general idea of what this is going to look like, you can come through and be like, okay, here we go. We got some black and white look. This is 4E black and white 2. We come down here, 4E black and white 2, and apply that. Okay, you'll still see that this one looks a little bit sharper contrast or more contrasted than this one does. That's because this window, this preview image, is just looking at just the creative LUT. It doesn't take into effect, or doesn't take into account, this basic correction LUT. Okay, if I want to adjust the intensity, maybe I just want it to be slightly black and white, I can do this. I have a little bit of color left in there. If I want it to be, more intense than 100, I would take it all the way up here, and that is a little bit too much for me. So to return it back to 100, I just double click. Anytime, double click, that'll return it to its default. Okay, so there's a couple tips there for using the creative LUTs. If you find a couple that you like, I would just recommend that you write them down. Maybe make a folder that says favorites and just install those. You can always go back and take out any of the LUTs you don't want to use and just leave in your favorites. Okay, so that's it for LUTs. I'll see you in the next one when we talk about titles.